Hello, everyone. We're going to start this webinar entitled Beyond Buzzwords, Safeguarding Integrity and Embracing AI in Teaching. So welcome, a very warm welcome to everybody, wherever you are. So my name's Damien Lonsdale, and today I'm joined by our guest speaker, Omar Ritz, from Gamma Learning. So a very warm welcome to Omar as well. Let me just briefly introduce myself. So I'm based in France. I'm an account executive for higher education for Constructor technology. And I've been with the company for nearly 2 years now. I have more than 25 years experience in the training and education sectors, having previously worked as a teacher, a trainer, and a sales consultant for a big publishing company covering various European markets. And Omar, would you like to briefly introduce yourself?
Hi, Damien. Thank you for having me, and very, warm welcome to everyone attending and watching the webinar today. And my name is Omar Risk. I'm the Vice President of Technology, Chief Technology Officer here at Gamma Learn, and a pleasure to be with you and speaking about this amazing topic today.
Indeed, a very interesting topic. And let me just briefly tell everyone about Constructor. Yeah, just some information. So our headquarters are in near Zurich in Switzerland. We have about 250 employees that focus, 70% of whom focus on research and development and product development. We focus on developing learning solutions, mainly for the education and training sectors, and AI and machine learning are our main focus. Our solutions are currently being used by these 4 segments, so higher education, research, schools, and the corporate sector. And we're very lucky to have Constructor University, which is part of the group based in Bremen, in Germany. The teaching staff and students have been using our solutions for the last couple of years, and they regularly provide us with feedback so we can constantly improve our solutions and customers can make the most out of them in real life teaching and training contexts. So as I said earlier on, we focus on developing digital learning solutions, mainly for the education and training sectors. And we can provide support and digital solutions for 5 different streams that appear on this slide. For learning and teaching, we develop innovative tools that help children with learning difficulties, such as dyscalculia, dyslexia. And we also have a couple of virtual labs to teach coding and to learn how to use any type of software like Excel, Tableau, or whatever, with a learning by doing approach. We also have a learning management system, a solution for invigilating candidates taking exams online called Proctor. We also have a solution called Avatar that can represent a tutor or a lecturer 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with a deep fake that can be integrated to online courses for presentations or to answer the learners' questions online. So this is our company in a nutshell. Omar, would you like to tell us a little bit more about Gamma Learn?
Yes, absolutely. So, Gamma Learn has been in the industry for about 32, 33 years now. We are based out of UAE, and we have 3 pillars that we're focused on in terms of platforms and solutions: learning, training, and assessment. And we're actually very happy with the long-term partnership and friendship with esteemed partners like Constructor, whom technologies and solutions have been integrated with our solutions to provide a value add, comprehensive end-to-end experience to our customers, whereas related to proctoring or infusing AI when whatever applicable for use cases that we're going to be speaking about today. Gamma Learn is also a global Microsoft Edu partner. So we work across multiple different regions from Middle East and Africa, Asia Pacific, as well as European Union. And much like Constructor, Gamma Learn is also GDPR compliant and aligned, all up until the latest, regulations to make sure we're always consistent and setting the expectations for privacy and security integrity for our customers.
Thank you so much, Umar. So this is today's agenda. So EdTech companies like Constructor are increasingly integrating AI features to their digital solutions, to offer opportunities to enhance the effectiveness, efficiency, and inclusivity of educational experiences, ultimately empowering learners to achieve their full potential. AI has permeated various facets of education in recent years, promising personalized learning, intelligent tutoring systems, automated assessment and feedback, content creation and curation, data analytics for learning insights, virtual reality and augmented reality simulations, but also language translation and communication support. However, along with these improvements, concerns regarding academic integrity, ethical dilemmas, and the human dimension of education have come to the fore. As AI becomes increasingly integrated into educational settings, it prompts critical reflections on how to uphold the values of integrity, equity, and authenticity. So today, with our guest speaker, Omar Ritz, we'll be covering the following topics: navigating academic integrity in the AI era, ethical frameworks and cheating prevention, protecting privacy with AI in education, and lastly, empowering education through AI. So let us begin. So as you know, Omar, in mid-March, the EU Parliament approved the Artificial Intelligence Act that ensures safety and compliance with fundamental rights while boosting innovation. Now, the regulation establishes obligations for AI based on its potential risks and level of impact. In your opinion, how should academic policies evolve to address the challenges and opportunities presented by AI in education?
I think it's a very interesting topic, not just because it's pretty complex, but it's also very new. And much like the recent regulations by the Parliament, a lot of organizations are jumping at the opportunity of evaluating their options and how to, collaborating on day-to-day basis. And I think, I mean, my opinion will be on a humble level, but and again, it's a very wide thing to consider. But I mean, the fine print here is I think academic policies should really, if not already starting to evolve, it should start to evolve to embrace AI and incorporating it in terms of clear guidelines on the ethical use of it, including, of course, things like fairness and transparency and accountability. And I think one of those things as well concerns, and especially in higher academia, in higher education, you're focusing on things that addresses academic integrity and intellectual property rights, right, with AI-generated content. So there should be a lot of policies that sort of surrounds this. But while policies are created to create these layers of governance and control, it should also take into considerations the encouragement of the development of things like digital literacy skills among students and faculty members. I mean, the idea of, I think it's gone are the days, which feels like just like yesterday, even though GPT has been around for almost 2 years now, and many other large language models and other AI-based utilities have been around for a while. People should start moving away from the construct of let's not use it, let's not get in touch with it, let's try to cut it out as much as possible, to start to embrace it and infuse it while creating these governance layers around it. And I think actually in higher education specifically, establishing frameworks for the use of AI in learning and assessments and even in accreditation is very key. I mean, those are three very common areas that where a lot of AI could be definitely infused in multiple different scenarios, but largely AI should be used as a tool to enhance and complement the productivity of things, but not a tool that is commonly advertised as a tool of destruction and disruption. So I guess policy should be flexible to adapt to rapidly changing AI landscape, and of course, fostering an environment of continuous learning and exploration and innovation. That's where the policy should be at this point.
Great, thanks, Oman. Now let's look at the second topic here, ethical frameworks and cheating prevention. How can institutions develop and implement ethical frameworks that are specifically tailored for AI use in academic settings?
I find this quite amusing because, again, being a new topic, and students are actually becoming a primary stakeholder in this process because they're exploring this at a much larger and rapid scale than faculty, administrative staff. I think it starts by forming a committee and a diverse group of people and in the creation process of these frameworks specifically. It shouldn't be a one-sided discussion. It should be a very inclusive discussion because these different stakeholders have very important point of views that makes this a formidable process, but of course flexible and elastic enough to rapidly grow and encompass changes. I mean, things like fairness, accountability, transparency, respect for privacy, are among many other topics that could be part of these ethical frameworks. And I guess, I mean, people are somehow pairing AI with a specific technology or utility that is out in the market that people are being used, but it's an ever-growing, rapidly growing technology every day. It's becoming an actual revolutionized industry altogether. I think this means that we have to always have continuous training, continuous awareness, continuous enablement, because that's the core strength of these frameworks. These frameworks are not rigid, they're not set in stone. They need to certainly be evaluated much faster and much more frequently than, let's say, something that's revisited every few years. You can't do that. It doesn't make sense. And I think this works hand in hand with the policies, because policies and frameworks is what really sets people apart from random chaos that could take over. So regular reviews and updates to this framework should ensure it remains as relevant as AI and applications are rapidly evolving in general. So that's my take on the frameworks.
Okay. And regarding protecting privacy with AI in education, how can educational institutions employ AI technologies while ensuring robust data protection and privacy?
I mean, there are many examples that we can think of here. I'll just take two examples and then give you my, let's say, my 2 cents on it. One would be, for example, now that large language models are quite common and they're quite affordable and quite accessible, more and more providers, such as, for example, Microsoft Azure and OpenAI, they're providing something called contextual data, which basically is your data, your own organizational information, only accessible to you and your staff. And there are a lot of content, right, policies and access policies and sensitivities and whatnot. And with this, you can guarantee that your data, whatever research, whatever the academic output of fingerprint, is within the borders of your organization. Of course, we're taking into consideration things that are already existing. So you're pairing yourself with very formidable and strong cloud providers, very well versed and certified vendors of technologies. So for example, we're talking about companies that are ISO certified, that already are GDPR compliant, which ensures privacy alignment to as much regulations as possible, applying latest technologies and latest standards of encryption and data residency and data integrity. So all of these different compliances, frameworks, standard alignments, and of course technology embracement will make sure that your data stays within the parameter it's supposed to operate in. I think also additionally, fostering a culture of privacy and educating stakeholders about data protection is very key now, because data that is just loose in the world is what is making information just being all around. The more you have conscious decisions about how to create this data, how to communicate this data, how to share and label this data. This would be the bedrock of how privacy and security works. But of course, making conscious decisions about these technologies should come from expertise that are provided by companies like GammaLearn and Constructor, for example. When we talk to our customers about, for example, in case of proctoring, how do you ensure that your data is accessed only by your team? How do we have footage of the students, archives and photos and all the evidence is encrypted, available only as an end-to-end encryption, whether it's a communication, whether it's videos, and so on and so forth. So, I mean, much to say about that, but I think that's the bedrock of how it would take on the topic of protection of privacy on AI.
Okay. I think there should be also regular assessments, security assessments and audits, to make sure that
Absolutely.
this data is protected.
Yes, I conducting. I mean, much like GDPR and privacy framework that we do as a DPOs, right, data protection officers. I think there should be a similar role, if not the same, to do a regular data protection impact assessment and employing secure AI technologies as well, and make sure it complies with local and international frameworks, so that we don't have a miss.
Exactly. And if I were a customer, I'd be very careful in choosing the right vendors for the AI solutions that I'm looking for, to make sure that they're compliant, these vendors, with GDPR rules and regulations, and also make sure that the AI tools can be configured, to our needs, our institution's needs.
Yes, personalization and customization of the perimeter where it lives and operates and how it's communicated, filters on content and how it's being relayed, to whom it's being relayed. All of these are breaks that a lot of vendors are already putting in place, by the way. So even though it's, again, very niche and very cutting edge, a lot of people have started thinking about the ethical impact of things even before the technological impact of it, which obviously large, as we know.
Okay. This brings us to the last topic, which is empowering education through AI. How can artificial intelligence contribute to creating personalized learning experiences that cater to a learner's needs?
So, I mean, I think that was one day the dream of most data providers, where every organization has a plethora of data, right? They have multitude of systems and a large ecosystem of integrated, data points and entities, and there are many different hidden patterns. And I think earlier days where business intelligence and predictive analytics were sort of the foundation of what now is the AI personalized experience of everything. So, I mean, there are many already existing examples of how AI is being used in leveraging and contributing to the personalized learning experience on an individual level and even on an organization level. A lot of organizations have adopted learning and assessment platforms right now that are contributing to the very curated, very inclusive process of tutoring, students. So understanding how they've been progressing because they have access to all of the data, historically, chronologically. Understanding how they've been, performing against specific skill sets as being specific benchmarks on a local level, domestic level, peer level, and it is happening in milliseconds. And so the students have unlimited 24/7 access to knowledge bases that are curated towards his own performance and geared towards upskilling them or him, specifically him or her, to their own pace, at their own leisurely pace. That was not possible before using traditional methods. The teacher is only spread too thin, and the learning resources are abundant. They're quite a lot, but again, it's the attention span. It's how many portals I have to access. It's what are the formats of this data. The power of AI is that it now reads everything, knows of everything, and can interpret a lot of data points and a lot of formats all together to come up with something that is very meaningful, unlike any other human ability, which we don't really possess to have that kind of processing power. So that's definitely one thing. In the field of assessment, for example, so SwiftAssess, which is our leading assessment platform, is pioneering the usage of AI in very two overwhelming uh, workloads, which are the authoring of assessments and questions, as well as aiding with grading. I mean, long has been the manual grading of manual questions and open-ended has been a nightmare. All right, doesn't matter how much we could try to semi-automate it. There's always a room for manual override. But with AI, I'm not saying that we're replacing the graders and the markers, but we're certainly reducing that workload dramatically. You know, and leaving teachers to actually teach and leaving markers to actually focus on much, like leaving teachers to just let go of that workload and focus on what matters. Enhancing the lesson plans, enhancing the one-to-one, points that really is required for those nurturing and evolving needs for the students. I think there are many examples that we can look at that, but significantly contributing to personalized learning by analyzing data sets and identifying students' learning patterns and preferences is where AI is right now. Whether you're doing this in a chat bi-directional way, whether you're doing this as a, hey, look at your week's performance and here's what you need to look at. Hey, AI is watching you as you're studying and it's giving you patterns of, hey, you need to maybe take a break now a little bit. So emotional intelligence and understanding how you're performing through your learning, and then reflecting on certain better timings for your learning and certain doses of your learning. So many examples, but I think it's definitely a key to a better personalized experience moving forward.
Sounds great, Umar. And what are the emerging AI technologies or methodologies that have the potential to further revolutionize education, in your view?
I mean, again, quite a few examples that we've been talking about in the past few days with our teams here, and just looking at how now AI has the ability to create bespoke content in so many different formats, and it's so immersive. It cuts tremendously the amount of time and cost that we usually, alternatively, for example, spend on creating those learning resources. So if you look at, for example, OpenAI, Sora, for example, or many other ones that are available as open source large language models, by the way, and that they are able to interpret the videos to explain to you what the key takeaways, or take your prompts and convert them to an actual video with immersive avatars impersonating you. So as you mentioned at the beginning, deepfakes, but in a more meaningful context with actual interaction with other entities, all done at a glimpse of an eye with large processing power, and it's personalized. So it's 24/7. It's in any language. It's in any preference for the student. It can take into consideration so many different personal attributes as well, which helps adapt this to different circumstances. And again, because this is a multidisciplinary field, you're basically limitless with what kind of knowledge you need to be able to inject and infuse and get back. So the ability to include things on research, for example, you mentioned research, which is quite a powerful example. Lots of research-based institutions and analytical tools out there, like Wolfram Alpha, for example, where people are required to run statistical simulations on chemical compounds and alloys, for example, to come up with the next world greatest battery. You don't have to do that on your own anymore. You have your own personal lab assistant who's going to run these in the background. It sounds like science fiction, but it's already here, and it sounds like Iron Man's Jarvis. Whereas you don't need to be Iron Man to have access to Jarvis anymore. It's just right there. So,
and it's here to stay. Absolutely.
Yeah, we gotta make friends with it because it's a powerful tool to leverage, for sure.
Good. Okay. Well, thank you for your input. I think we can now deal with the questions and answers from the audience. So I'll just share my screen with you. And sorry, this is it. So do we have any questions from the audience? I think we've got one here that you may want to answer, Omar. With the increasing sophistication of AI-generated content, what innovative strategies can be implemented to detect and prevent cheating in academic settings?
That's actually a very trendy topic. I think in higher education more so than even K-12, just because there is a large room for integrity, to play a big role from students' authenticity of, submitting their own assignments and their own projects. And faculty members are now forced to reimagine the way assessments take place. So you're saying cheating, but cheating only implies that the method that they're assessed on is prone to cheating. But if you change that method, you break that pattern. So, for example, I mean, we know that now everyone has access to large language model. Even if you block access to GPT on campus, we don't do projects and assignments on campus. So you need to be able to reimagine the way you perform these immersive experiences in different formats, and not just by employing things like, I mean, you can always do online exams with lockdown desktops and proctoring and whatnot, but that's only on the on-screen test where you have control of the student. For the other formative exams and formative assessments that are taking place, we need to transcend from given a holistic text-based assessment and maybe merging that a little bit with a practical experience. Because while AI is able to interpret text and can do a lot more around that, it will fail at performing a multitude of tasks that requires you to apply some methods and be practical about it. So I think we need to have a lot more hands-on than just theoretical, and we should accept the fact that whatever we're writing, if we're writing it, it's automatically somewhere in some large language models. And I'm not saying that this is not going to be solved, because lots of companies are already jumping at creating anti-AI plagiarism. So it used to be just plagiarism tools, now AI plagiarism. So basically AI fighting AI. But while this is happening, we don't want to be caught up in the fire. We want to make sure that we are transcending beyond the concept of theoretical and maybe just mixing things up, And one thing as well, which is adaptive assessment. So because we already have personalized assessments, and it used to be psychometrically calibrated, and we all know the history about CATs in general. Now AI CATs the next gen of AI, of assessment based on AI. And this one is not just based on some predicted formula that students can just break or try to fool. AI already has access to not just in the moment performance, but historically. So it can just bring in and come up with questions that would completely surprise you and sort of jump at the chance of evaluating a certain skill it identifies as a weakness. I think, again, a good example, I'm not marketing for anything here, but Duolingo. Duolingo is a great example for using AI in language learning, because while you're progressing, it sort of picks up on these things and nuances that usually people miss out on. And even though you're at some certain advantage and a sort of advanced level in your progression as a learner, it will come back and throw you something that it knows is a weakness, even though you sort of passed it a long time ago. That's where assessment should be. An assessment that is capable and aware and contextually understanding of who it is and how I can challenge them, and so on.
Thank you so much, Umar. Do we have any other questions from the audience? I don't think so. I think we've touched upon quite a number of topics and points. So I'll just share our details now with everyone. So yeah, thank you for attending this webinar. And we hope you found it interesting and it provided some food for thought. Please don't hesitate to connect with us on LinkedIn. So you can just need to scan our respective QR codes here with your smartphone camera, and it will take you to the smartphone browser where you'll find our LinkedIn profiles. We'll provide you with a link to the video recording, and you'll also find the video recording on the Gamma Learn blog. And I'd like to extend an invitation to all of you to stay connected with us, follow our journey, get the latest updates, and engage with our community by visiting our website and following us on our social media platforms. And we're excited to share more with you and continue this conversation online. So thanks again, and have a good rest of the week. Thank you so much, Omar. All the best.
Thank you, Damien. Thank you for
Take
having
care.
me.
Thank you.
Take care. Have a
Good.
good one. Bye-bye.